Alright guys, the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics are just around the corner, and right now there's an omnicron variant outbreak in China. Just like happened in a bunch of other countries, it's now come back to China, and the home of the original coronavirus is back in China in a big way. But conveniently for China, they can now use that as an excuse to swab your ass. That's right. They are demanding that every foreigner who wants to come to China has to get an anal swab to test for the virus. Now, this happened already last year. So, US diplomats in China subjected to anal swab testing for COVID-19, State Department says. Now, this was written back in February of 2021, so close to a year ago. They lodged a complaint with the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then here we go. The China said that the tests were done in error and that diplomatic personnel were exempt from the specific testing requirement. They said that these American diplomats were tested in error, but that people in general are being subjected to these anal swabs. And here is an article written just a couple of weeks later, in March of 2021, by the Times in England. China has made anal swab tests for the coronavirus mandatory for almost all international arrivals, deepening a row with other countries over practice many have described as humiliating. The Japanese government has already raised concerns about its citizens being subjected to the undignified procedure, while American diplomats have also complained. And here's an article from the New York Post. Li Tongzeng, a respiratory disease medic, said the anal swabs are better because the virus traces stay in fecal samples longer than they do in the nose or throat, state media reported. So that's their reasoning. It's a better way of testing, so they say. Now again, this article was written back in March of 2021. And as far as I can tell, the Chinese got rid of this anal swabbing, but now that the omnicron variant is sweeping through China, they're bringing it back. So here we go. Bum deal. China brings back anal swab testing for COVID in world's most brutal lockdown 2 weeks before the Winter Olympics begin. The timing of this is either good or bad depending on how you want to look at China. Do they want these anal swabs? Do they want your DNA from foreigners? Who knows what they're up to? And here's a diagram on how to do the swab. So you stick it up your ass right there, and then you leave it up there for 5 to 10. Now, I don't know if that's 5 or 10 seconds or 5 or 10 minutes, but there you go. There's the instructions in Chinese, and this is what all the Olympic athletes are going to have to do now. They're going to have to take the anal swab and hand it over to China. So how exactly do they test for this? Well, most of you probably don't want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Well, I have it on good authority from my Chinese sources that all the swabs are actually given to this man himself, Winnie the Pooh. And what he does is he sticks these anal swabs up his nose because he's got this amazing sense of smell and he can smell out the virus. Just like a dog can sniff out drugs, Xi Jinping, the Chinese leader, he can smell the coronavirus from anal swabs. So he's going to be sticking those swabs from Olympic athletes up his nose, these anal samples, and he's going to be able to tell which athletes have the omnicron variant. Now let's look at China's coronavirus cases, because this is quite incredible. They've had just 105,000 cases and less than 5,000 deaths. Incredible. 4,600 deaths roughly. And here we can see the cases. So back around February of 2020, the number of cases just plummeted. Look at this graph here. It goes way up and then it's kind of a straight line. Look at this, daily new cases. So this is at the start of the pandemic. We had a huge amount of cases and then it just nothing. Look at this, just a couple of cases here and there. Active cases, very few active cases. And again, at the start, it was high. Now, look at this one. This is the most amazing graph you'll ever see in your life. At the start of the pandemic, it goes way up. And it just shoots right up here, straight line. So we had one deadly day where 15 or 1,300 people died. And then look at what happened the next day. No deaths. So look at this. April 18, 2020, 4,632 deaths. So that was 21 months ago. So 1 year, 9 months ago, 4,632 deaths. And now let's fast forward to now. We're at January 21, 2022, 4,636 deaths. So in 21 months, China has had just 4 deaths from the Chinese virus, COVID-19. The virus that originated in China. That's why I call it the Chinese virus. And only 4 Chinese people have died. While millions of people across the world died in this time, China had just 4 deaths. Incredible. Now, either China is lying about these statistics or China knows something that we don't. So maybe there's more to this these anal swabs than we're being led to believe. Maybe we all should be doing anal swabs, and maybe the deaths will go down like they did in China. Look at this line. It's incredible. This graph is the most amazing graph you'll ever see in your life. So here is the IOC president and IOC Athletes Commission chair holding a video call with Peng Shuai. So Peng Shuai is a tennis player who accused a Chinese Communist Party member of raping her, and he denied it, and all of a sudden she kind of disappeared. There was a massive outrage about this, and the IOC president, the International Olympic Committee president, Thomas Bach, held a video call with Peng Shuai. All they released was just this photograph of him talking to her. Now look at the big smile on her face. Look how happy she is. She isn't being held against her will. She isn't under any house arrest or nothing like that, because she's got a big smile on her face. So obviously everything is fine with her, and the IOC president spoke to her, so it's all good, right? And here is a picture of Thomas Bach with some Chinese guy. Now if you're not sure who is who, this is the Chinese guy, and this is Thomas Bach, who is from Germany. And he actually is an Olympic champion in fencing, but he is also up the ass of the Chinese, basically. He is a shill for the Chinese Communist Party, and here he is doing this dumb video where she's smiling, and this is all they released, was this photograph of her with a smile on her face. Incredible. So he's in the pocket of the Chinese Communist Party, and I have a world exclusive to announce to you, because in recognition of the Olympics being held in China in a couple of weeks, the Olympic flag is going to change. We are going to get a new Olympic flag. Now here's the flag. You can see that everybody knows it's got the 5 rings, the blue, the black, the red, yellow and green. So what does all this symbolize? So the rings represent the 5 inhabited continents: Europe, Asia, Africa, Oceania, and the Americas. The colours of the rings, together with the white of the background, included the colours composing of every competing country's flag. So every country flag in the world has at least one of these 6 colours. And so this flag, it represents the 5 major continents and basically every country in the world. But now I can exclusively reveal the new flag for the Olympics, and here it is. So it's the same design, but we don't have 5 different colours. We have 1 colour for the rings. That colour is brown, and the brown rings represent the assholes of all the athletes from the 5 continents who are going to stick a swab up their asses to give to Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh is gonna sniff those anal swabs, and he's gonna find out if they have the coronavirus. And the white background, that represents the International Olympic Committee's surrender to the Chinese Communist Party. So there you go, guys. The new Olympic Games flag. And here he is, Xi Jinping, the guy with the sniffer dog nose. He's going to know whether or not you have the Chinese virus. So be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be covering the calamity that's going to be the Winter Olympics when it happens in a couple of weeks. So watch out for that. Be sure to leave a comment, hit the like button, and let me know what you think of the new flag design. Do you think this is a good representation of the Olympics? Let me know. So until next time, guys, see you later.